Brezilya, Pakistan.
Excellency, the Ambassador of the Republic of El Salvador to Turkey, Mr. of the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency the Ambassador Yildönümü, whom we kindly invite to join us on the stage. With great solemnity, we present with the intonation of the national anthems of the Republic of El Salvador and the Republic of Turkey.
Ambassador Yildönümü, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Shalem Efshid, Deputy Director General for Latin America, ambassadors and heads of diplomatic missions accredited in Ankara, representatives of business companies and partners, Salvador'Un diaspora, special guests. Hoş geldiniz. On September 15, El Salvador commemorates the anniversary of its independence. It is a celebration not only filled with pride and joy for our country, but also a sentiment that we share with our regional allies, such as Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica. Dear friends, since 2019, under the leadership of President Nayib Bukele, El Salvador undergone a profound transformation, particularly in security. These efforts have not only improved the quality of life of Salvadorans, but have also fostered territorial development and created a conducive environment for economic growth. Now El Salvador is focusing on driving economic progress, building attractive spaces for tourism, and enhancing investment opportunity. In this ongoing journey, Turkey has been a strong and supportive ally. As part of our continued efforts to deepen our ties, in March 2025, we held the second meeting of political consultations with Turkey in El Salvador, where both countries agreed in advancing bilateral and multilateral cooperation. A particularly significant moment in our partnership was the recent visit of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of El Salvador, His Excellency Alexandra Yildönümü, to Turkey. In this opportunity, she met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, His Excellency Hakan Fidan, and the President of TICA, Mr. Abdullah Eren. This discussion centered on the key pillars of our relationship, identified supportive initiatives, and explored new opportunities for closer cooperation. Trade has been a key area in strengthening this between El Salvador and Turkey. In February 2025, a day delegation visited El Salvador to explore economic and investment opportunities across sectors like telecommunications, metals, coffee, food, construction, textiles, education, and digital technologies. In return, El Salvador organized a business delegation to Istanbul in July to build partnership in the food products, beverage, and production technologies industries. Our cooperation has also grown to encompass a wide range of areas, including education, culture, healthcare, early childhood, development, innovation, maritime law, aerospace technology, and even the defense industry, as evidenced by the recent signing of agreement in this regard. Dear friends, as a tangible symbol of partnership commitment between El Salvador and Turkey, in June 2025, we inaugurated the Park of the Republic of El Salvador in Ankara, a space dedicated to celebrating our enduring friendship. I would like to take this opportunity to express our profound and sincere gratitude to Turkish authorities for their unwavering support and commitment, which has been significant to advance our shared objectives. I also extend my thankfulness to our business partners who have chosen El Salvador as a trade and investment partner. Among them, I would like to particularly highlight Honest Holding, whose generous support we deeply appreciate, and Chucu Chucu, a brand renowned for its exceptional Salvadorian cocoa and coffee, which I invite you to taste. I would like to deeply thank my dearest wife, Gabriela, and the wonderful team of the Embassy of El Salvador in Ankara for their pride and support. Lastly, I want to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to our Salvadoran diaspora living here in Turkey. We hope you enjoy the reception we have prepared in your honor. Yaşasın El Salvador ve yaşasın Türkiye.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is really a great honor for me to be here with you today on this very special occasion of the National Day of El Salvador, celebrating the 204th anniversary of the independence of El Salvador. On behalf of the Turkish people and our government, I want to extend our best wishes and congratulations to you on this special occasion. Director, I keep saying that, but when I said that it's a great privilege to celebrate this special occasion, your National Day here with you today, I truly meant it. Because it was kind of a cliche mostly, but I truly mean it this time. Because El Salvador has a genuinely special place for us in the Central American region. Some of you might be surprised by that, given that, thinking that we have a relatively short recent history with El Salvador since the opening of our embassies in 2020 and in 2022 respectively. But this is not the case, because this year we celebrate the 141st anniversary of our diplomatic relations, which started all the way back in 1884, when the then president of El Salvador, Rafael Zaldivar, if I'm not wrong, wrote a letter to Sultan Abdulhamid of the Ottoman Empire and expressed his nation's desire to strengthen the bonds of friendship between our countries. Can you imagine? This happened almost 2 centuries ago, between two countries, thousands of kilometers apart from each other, when there was no social media, when there was no mobile phones or passenger sort of jets. But of course, this truly remarkable and visionary step ushered in a new era in our relations, and since then our ties between our two countries have always been blessed by mutual affection and a commitment to get even closer to each other. But there is no doubt that our relations really took off in a very visible and considerable way within the last 5 to 10 years, as a result of which we are now going through the most dynamic era in our relations with El Salvador. Among the milestones of this period, of course, is 2 visits by Foreign Minister Alexandra Hill to Turkey. First in 2019, and then this year, as you mentioned, in 2025, as well as the historic visit of President Nayib Bukele in 2022, which I had the great privilege of accompanying him throughout the visit at that time. Because really, during President Bukele's visit, which was the first ever at that level from El Salvador to Turkey, it has been a turning point in our relations. apart from the many agreements signed and reached during that level, what was even more important, I have to say, is that he has won the hearts and minds of the Turkish people with his frank attitude, sincere affection for Turkey, certainly innovative approaches on issues like Bitcoin, I would say, but also, of course, his humorous tweets in Turkish language, which directly touched the social fabric of the Turkish people and made him a social icon, social media icon. I still see many people reposting or referring to his tweets from that time. Of course, besides that, in high-level visits, the 2 rounds of political consultations held at Director General level within the last 4 years have also been very useful in preparing these high-level visits, but also institutionalizing our cooperation in a range of fields. On this point, personally, I have to say that I had the privilege of hosting and co-chairing the first ever political consultations in Ankara back in 2021 when I was the Director General for Americas. My only regret is still that we were not able to do it in San Salvador. And it was my successor, Ambassador Yaprak Balkan, who had that pleasure. So I'm a bit of jealous in that regard for not being able to see the smallest but one of the most beautiful countries in Central America, where I was and still looking forward so much to seeing the magnificent surfing sites on the Pacific coast of El Salvador, but also tasting its very delicious and tasty, papusa, if I'm not wrong. But joking aside, really, after these very good high-level contacts and visits and clearly expressed mutual commitment to enhance our relations, now I think is the time to translate this political will into concrete actions and figures. In fact, we've already started seeing some promising, important and impressive developments in that direction. And of course, what comes to my mind, the first that comes to my mind is the investment being made by the U-Boat company in El Salvador, worth of $1.6 billion US, and which I'm proud to say that constitutes apparently the biggest private foreign investment in the history of El Salvador. So we are quite proud of that. We're hoping that this will not be just an isolated one-off project, but on the contrary, it will be the beginning of a mutually beneficial journey where we will be extending our cooperation to many other fields, including but not limited to defense industry, construction, tourism and culture. And of course, we hope that based on this growing cooperation and investment, we will also be able to increase our trade volume, which currently, stands at about $25 million US annually. I say I hope that because this is certainly far below our true potential, and it needs to be increased, considerably, maybe at least to $500 million within the next 2 to 3 years. In other words, with El Salvador, which is also known as the land of volcanoes, we hope to have an eruption of our trade and investment, the fallout of which will be more prosperity and development for both of our friendly countries. Let me now stop here and allow you to enjoy the great music and the food that are awaiting us all. But I have just learned something on the way here, and I'm going to make that analogy based on the name of El Salvador. Because I always thought that, the name Salvador means, savior in Spanish, and I always liked it as a country's name. But recently, just a few minutes ago in fact, I learned that El Salvador's original name, used by its indigenous inhabitants, was Cuscatlan, which meant, by the way, place for precious jewels. And I liked it even more, really. What a wonderful name for a country. But I found it also quite meaningful for us, because we also find El Salvador as a jewel in our relations with Central America, which we are fully committed to deepen and diversify in the years to come. So, dear Hector, once again, I would like to congratulate you on this special occasion. Commend you and the people of Salvador for many achievements they made over the years, but also extend my best wishes for an even brighter future for your country, El Salvador, but also for our relations. Thank you and congratulations.